Dude, Lisa's serious. She's getting rid of your poker chips.
I know. My poker chips are going. What's going on with that? I feel like that is just completely wrong.
She said you haven't used them in a decade.
It doesn't matter.
The rule of thumb is if you don't use something for 6 months, get rid of it.
That's what they say.
Maybe a year tops, but 6 months. So why do you want to hang on to your poker chips if you haven't used them in 10 years?
I like them. They're nice. They're nice chips.
Oh my God.
I know, it's terrible. If you pick them up, they're so nice and heavy. And
are they plastic or wood?
It scares me to get rid of them.
Scares you?
It pushes my fear button.
That's too funny. This is it right here.
Yeah, that's not gonna work. All right, welcome to Tabletop Coffee tonight. We are just having a great time. Tonight we are talking about fear, and it's something that we all deal with. So tell us what we're gonna get into tonight, Jack.
Well, my clients would tell you that I'm obsessed with fear, and they're right about that, because I think that fear is the thing that causes conflict between two people or two groups of people, or even just a conflict within myself. And so stay tuned. It won't take but a few minutes. I'll show you how. I want to talk about fear. I do.
Oh my goodness, fear.
No, I do. I want to talk about fear, because fear just makes it difficult to do what you want to do, or sometimes even impossible to do what you want to do. And my clients would say that I'm obsessed with fear and fear buttons. And you've been around me enough to know I talk about that all the time.
I know. And I deal with fear. I think everybody deals with fear in some way in different areas of their life.
Yeah, I think it's just a matter of how people deal with it.
Yeah.
That's the different issue.
Is it safe to say that almost everything that we deal with in our life in some way ties back to fear?
I think so.
I think so too.
I think it's fear of not getting what I want, or something happening that I don't want.
Right.
But it's all some form of fear. Is it okay if I talk about this?
Yeah, I would love to hear about it.
You always say never and never say always, but you can in regard to conflict, because there are two things that cause conflict between two people or two groups of people, or just the conflict within myself. One is somebody's fear button gets pushed, and they become afraid. Their brain literally lights up, and the dream of how they wanted things to be is getting crushed, or at least they're afraid that the dream is being crushed.
That makes sense.
Yeah. So here's what it looks like. There's always a trigger. Somebody will say something. Somebody will do something, somebody will not say something and you wanted them to, somebody will not do something and you wanted them to. Some life event just unfolds.
Okay.
And then here I am. Here you are. Yeah. And we're unhappy. Why? Right.
Because we're fearful.
Yeah. And we're fearful actually because you have a dream inside your head. This dream's getting crushed. Or at least your fear button, the F word. Your fear button's getting pushed. Because of that fear, so then it causes me to do stuff, or it shuts me down, I do nothing. Or it causes me to say stuff, or I shut down and say nothing. I either act out or I act in. So trigger happens and crushes this dream, or at least I'm afraid the dream's being crushed. And because of this fear, I engage or I disengage. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes sense. I'm one of those people who tends to disengage.
Yeah, me too. There's only 4 emotions in the world. One is sad. And sometimes I engage or disengage out of my sadness. Or what a lot of people do. That's a blooper.
You can redo that whole thing. Be mad.
Mad. And then we engage out of our madness, which is what most people do. So the 4 emotions that we have are sad, glad, mad and scared. But people don't typically come to see me because they're glad. Well, actually they do. That's part of their dream. That's how they just really want things to be. So what I encourage people to do is whenever there's a conflict, just to be able to say, hey, we're in conflict here. Whose fear button got pushed? Mine, yours, or both? Whose dream's getting crushed? Mine, yours, or both? Get some new language on your lips.
Do you find that it's usually both, or is it one or the other?
I think sometimes it's just one, but it's a good question. I would say that usually it's a fear of both people or a dream of both people, and that dream has just come into conflict. So I'll give you an example of this, not one that I'm particularly proud of, but one that I share with especially all the couples that come in, because we're really wanting to solve conflict so that we can move on, to other things and be happy in life. The backstory is that Kim reads a lot.
Okay.
She reads a lot about healthy kinds of things. Pre-internet, it was magazines, journal articles, books. One time she read a book on leptin.
The tea?
No, not Lipton.
Oh.
Leptin. I don't know what leptin is. But
I don't either.
She says it's important.
Okay.
And so this book she got was big and thick and textbooky. And she read it like 3 times because it was so complicated trying to understand it. And then she would try to tell me, and I'm kind of like, eyes glaze over. You've seen that?
I have seen that before.
Yeah, when you're teaching me about computers.
Yeah.
It's like,
about 10 minutes in.
No.
45.
45.
It's truly, it is 45 minutes.
And then after
it's
that,
like,
I'm just toast.
but leptin, 5 minutes. 5
I
minutes,
would say
I'd be
that's probably
done.
true.
Yeah.
And then, of course, comes the internet, and then blogs, websites, YouTube. Oh my gosh, watching YouTube
Wonderful.
lectures. It is, but she wore out her previous iPhone to the one that she has now. The poor thing just wouldn't even come on. And the guys at the Verizon store are trying to give her options, and she's like, give me a phone. It's just not going to come back on. She just wore it out. I mean, couldn't keep up with her absorbing this information about health. For her, one of the things that's really, really bad, it's like Satan's spawn, is fluoride. Fluoride.
Okay.
We've actually had this conversation. She'll say to me, Chuck, you're brushing your teeth with poison. You're rotting your teeth and bones. We're behind in the States. And it's not that she's wrong about this. It just ranks really high for her.
Sure.
And it's not that it doesn't rank for me, but it ranks like maybe here.
Right.
Hence you see the difference, and hence you see
Yeah.
where the fear can grow. So there's the backstory.
Real fear can only exist when you believe that something frightening can occur.
Our son Sam, this is just when he was just this really little guy. He was starting to take over his nighttime routine.
So 19 years old or so.
Yeah, good point.
Going to college, time to brush your teeth,
Get your
learn how to do
backpack.
it yourself. Yeah.
So he was starting to take over his nighttime routine and do your potties.
Okay.
Wash your hands, brush your teeth, get in the bed, put your jammies on, that kind of thing. I was watching him, and his fine motor skills really hadn't developed yet, and he was trying to floss, and it was this ugly circus in your mouth, kind of thing.
That's tough for adults.
Yeah, it really
It can
is.
be frustrating.
It is.
Yeah.
And the poor guy it was awful. So I saw it and I was like, so I said, maybe we should try some dental picks. Kim said, oh, I think that'd be great. Comes the weekend, Sam and I are out doing our thing. I can't swear to it. I think we were at Target, Target.
Yeah, Target.
And I saw a trial pack of dental picks. I take him home, and that night he's now a professional flosser. This problem is solved.
Yeah, that makes it easy.
I was like so happy because he was happy, and because he was happy, she's happy, because she's happy, I'm happy. It's like, this isn't just managed, this is solved.
Yeah.
So a couple weeks go by, and I'm in the kitchen, and I hear, Dad! And I run up there, and Sam's got this thing hanging out of his mouth. It's a dental pick. And so it was stuck, and so I helped him pull it out. And I said, well, try it again, Sam. And so he does, and it sticks. I pull it out. He said, this thing is sticking in my teeth. And I said, well, yeah, I know. Let me try one. So I try one. It sticks in my teeth. I pull it out. And I said, well, buddy, I don't know. These are really tight. And he says, these aren't the ones you got. These are the ones Mom got, and they don't work. I said,
Just
yeah.
a different brand.
Yeah, it's just a different brand. And so I said, look, I said, we'll go back and get the other brand. And a voice from behind me says, you can't. I've been everywhere. All the other brands have fluoride.
Fluoride.
So I turned toward, I was nice and kind and soft and gentle. I was also very invalidating. And I said, well, we'll find a brand that doesn't have fluoride. I hear, you can't. I've been everywhere. All the other brands have fluoride. So I turned back toward nice, kind, soft, gentle, and invalidating. I said, well, we'll go back to Target. We'll go to Sam's Club, which is like Costco if people don't have Sam's Club. We'll go to Walmart, which is like True Love, go to Walmart. We'll find a brand that doesn't have fluoride. You can't. I've been everywhere. All the other brands have fluoride.
Mm.
So I turned back toward again, nice, kind, soft, gentle, and invalidating. And I said, we'll go to Walgreens, we'll go to CVS, and surely we'll find a brand that doesn't have fluoride. And the reply was, you can't. I've been everywhere. All the other brands have
Fluoride.
Yes. I tried again. I said, well, I'll tell you what, we'll make a treasure hunt out of it. We'll put the top down on the Miata. We'll go to all the counties and all the non-chain drug stores, and surely we'll find a brand that doesn't have fluoride. And the reply was,
I bet it was you can't.
I've been everywhere.
Been everywhere.
All the other brands have
Fluoride.
yes, fluoride. You're right.
Yeah.
You catch on quick.
I know it's great. Yeah, I'm wondering, why haven't we figured this one out?
Well, that's looking back at it, you think that I would have caught on quicker. And at this point, I start demanding my right to a bad relationship because I can have a horrible one if I want to.
Yeah, we all can do that.
And I wanted one at that
Yeah.
point. And if somehow, some way, we have like 3 bedrooms and a bathroom and 6 steps down is this living room area. And somehow, some way, the conversation had trailed to the living room area. And Kim is sitting on the arm of a love seat at this point, and I'm standing up, demanding my right to a bad relationship. And I said, you've been everywhere? You've been to Washington State and Canada?
Oh, you didn't.
I did, dude. I said that. It's the exact words. And when I said that, she didn't say anything. She didn't do anything. She just kind of shriveled and became inward.
No.
And I saw it, and I was like, oh, stink. And so I had just blown it. I had.
Right.
And so, in my head is just this buzzing, practice what you preach, practice what you preach. And so I know what I need to do. It's just, do I want to do it? Not really, but I want closeness as opposed to distance.
Sure.
And so I know there's only one clue. I have to acknowledge how right she is and how wrong I am about this.
And that's so tough to do.
It is, because I hate, I like being right,
We all like being right.
But do you want to be right or do you want relationship?
You should want relationship.
I should, yeah. And at
Yes.
this point I did, actually. I knew the problem. I knew the trigger. I knew what I'd said. I just didn't know what message
Right.
that I sent. And so in my head, it's practice what you preach, practice what you preach. Whose fear button got pushed? Yours, Kim's, or both? Whose dreams in conflict? Yours, Kim's, or both? And I don't know. I don't think it was mine. I think it was hers. I just don't know what it was. So I have to find out. So I know the trigger. So I said, honey, when I said this to you, Washington State or Canada, what message did I send you? And she says to me,
And that just had to be terrible to hear.
it did. She says, you said you're stupid.
Right.
And everything within me wanted to cry out and say, I didn't say you were stupid.
Right.
But I know from my training and I know from my extensive personal experience of blowing it, my only job in the moment is to acknowledge how right she is. And so I have to receive that influence that I said she was stupid. Because if I don't, it's on.
Oh, yeah. It's going to go back and forth.
It is. It's tit for tat, banter for banter, bringing more distance as opposed to connection. And that's not, what you want.
Brooke, you're acting crazy again.
Don't you call me crazy. I am not crazy.
I didn't call you crazy.
Just
I didn't
did.
call you crazy. No, I didn't. I said you're acting crazy.
You know what, Gary? I asked you to do one thing today, one very simple thing.
I just blew it, but I don't have to keep blowing it. And so I said, you're 100% right. I did say you were stupid. It is so not what I wanted to say, but it is so what I said.
And how was that received?
It was received well because I said it again. I said, it's so not what I wanted to say, but it doesn't matter what I meant to say. It matters what I said. And if I could go back in time and do it very differently, I would, because I was very, very wrong. I was sitting there, and she looks up at me out of the corner of her eye. I was waiting. What's she going to say?
Right.
And she says to me, and who knows, I have no idea where this came from. She says, "That's okay. You repair well." I'm like, who talks like that, right? But that's what she said.
Yeah. That's great that she did that.
It is. It was a wonderful response. And I have no clue about what happened next. I have perfect memory up until that part, but I don't recall. It just went away. And so I tell my couples that's what's going to happen for you, is that these things that you're struggling with are going to get really small in a hurry when you receive the other person's influence.
And that's a great motivator to do
Oh
it
gosh,
right.
because this conflict hurts so bad, feels so awful, and closeness feels so wonderful.
Yeah.
And this is what you got to do. You got to receive the person's influence, which we've got another video about that, the dance.
Yeah.
Receiving the influence of the other person.
That was a great way to handle that.
Yeah, and that's another video we can do. We'll do this on flooding. Because
Okay.
sometimes you can't really talk through it in the moment because your brain goes offline because
Right.
you're just flooded. So we can do a video on flooding and what happens with heart rate and so forth.
Oh, that
Yeah,
would be
we'll
great.
do
So
that
be
as well.
sure to subscribe and ding the bell, click the bell so that you get notified for the videos that we put out from this point forward.
Yeah,
Yeah, that'll be great.
great. Thanks for going through that with me.
Oh,
appreciate
I
it.
love it. That's fantastic. And your drawing. Man, I didn't know that you were... you were so good. It's just awesome.
I'm a multifaceted
You
man.
are multifaceted.
So if my career for counseling goes in the tubes,
Yeah, you can always be an artist.
I am an artist. Already I draw
Yeah.
flies.
That's not funny at all. That was bad.
Look, if you can do the dance.
Yeah. Oh, the dance. Hey, tune in for the dance video and watch my dance. If you love The Office, you will love my dance.
We'll see.
It's true. Hey, hit the button down below, subscribe, click the bell.
All right,
We'll
good.
see you next time.
Thanks, y'all.